Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another episode of Elite FPL. This is the preview for the upcoming game week. Game week 17 is on the horizon. Unfortunately, not all on one day, which we've seen in the past with Boxing Days. It's now spread over a course of multiple days. Game week 17, Boxing Day, kicks off with the lunchtime kickoff. Brentford hosting Spurs, and then a plethora of 5 games at 3 o'clock, all of which... Oh no, is it 5 games or is it 4 games? It's 4 games at 3 o'clock. Yeah, 4 games at 3 o'clock, which, to be honest, all of them I have absolutely no care in the world about, from a fantasy football perspective. Maybe my goalkeeper, I don't know, Ward. Maybe that's the only biggest featurette in that series of games. And then we've got Aston Villa hosting Liverpool at 5:30 in the evening. I'm actually more interested in that game than all of the other games combined on that day. Steve-O, welcome to yet another of our shows. This is another recorded show that's going to be going out on Friday. We're sat here recording this on Thursday afternoon. Let's get straight to it, Steve-O. Are you prepared for game week 17, or are you still going to have to spend some time thinking about what you're going to do with your team selection?
So, essentially, I am going to be looking at everything on Christmas Day. Truthfully.
Oh wow!
Because I'm going to be
fat with turkey and drunk.
It depends
rum,
on what my
probably.
Circumstances are regarding.
I hope I don't make my decisions on Christmas Day.
It depends on what my circumstances are, but I can guarantee there'll be a point during the day where I've got a couple of hours to myself where I can spend 10 minutes looking at my team and my players and everything and who I want to bring in. But honestly, my attitude is truthfully, my team's probably staying the same.
So shall I just get your team up then? Should we start with you? Because you're the one that's chasing me, right? As I like to remind you.
Remind me.
So in game week 16, you did get 61 points. You got, seems like a million years ago now.
What it was?
-4. And what was that -4? Let's quickly have a look. That -4 was Darwin in for Skamaka. And Kulusevski, right, you did 3 transfers. You did Ben White in, Kulusevski in, and Darwin in for Zaha, Alexander-Arnold, and Skamaka. Right. So you're going with the same team?
I think the likelihood of me changing any of this team whatsoever is pretty much zero, mate. Genuinely, I don't really want to get rid of Pope. Trippier, Robertson, Ben White, Martinelli. I've got too much money invested in these people.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this team. You've got. I took Rashford out prior to the World Cup, to kind of fit with my narrative of having Haaland and Nunez like yourself up front, and then dropping the money down from Rashford that I freed up into Almiron. Now, having seen Rashford at the World Cup and having seen Rashford against Burnley, it's quite apparent that he seems to have found a new affinity, a new burst of life and energy in his game. Will it continue into the Premier League season? We don't know. We ain't got a crystal ball. But for 6.7 million. Is it almost a no-brainer to have Marcus Rashford in your team? Or do you think Man United, can't trust them, no chance? Obviously, you've got him in, but
I'm trusting them all the way.
Really? Now Ronaldo's gone. Do you think that United will have a different attitude and dynamic within that squad?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I keep saying this. I equate Ronaldo to a member of staff that I work with, that the second this individual's at work, it's just, God. The only difference is that this individual is a complete waste of space, whereas Ronaldo.
Do you think Ronaldo's tarnished as somewhat of his reputation by going back to United and behaving with the way that he did. And obviously, it's not all one way. Of course, I personally believe that there's been a lot of mistreatment with Ronaldo from the board, certainly over the unfortunate personal issues that he went through. Do you feel that it was just a real big mistake him going back to United from the beginning, really?
No. I don't think so. No, I think that he wanted to return. He did what he needed to do. I think he came. I mean, I'll ask you now.
First season back, he did well, didn't he?
Yeah,
was it 19 goals that he scored?
Something like, I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but certainly him on the Piers Morgan interview, I thought came across very, very well. Genuinely, I mean, I'll quickly ask you if you can remember the Piers Morgan interview.
Yeah, I think there's always two sides to every story. Okay, and I think that oh wow, I've just been offered a singing in a band. Oh my god, that's just literally just come through now. That's another story for another day. Let me just quickly close this WhatsApp down on my computer.
We can edit this out because it's a video.
Oh no, I'm not going to edit it out. This is raw. This is for some reason, to answer your question, I think there's two sides to every story. I think the majority of what Ronaldo said is most likely true. I feel that he's probably acted very immature. Like, I would say he's acted immature in some ways. But he is one of the best footballers that we've certainly seen in the past generation. I personally, from a selfish point of view, don't want the last memories of Ronaldo at Man United being that. I think that he came back. He did a good job in the season that he came in, and but for me, I always just got memories of him playing against like Fulham, and is it 2008? With Wayne Rooney and it's the memories of him, Nani, Rooney, for me, all linking up, will be the memories that I hold dear when it comes to Ronaldo. Not the antics of him on the bench throwing his shirt on the floor and knocking a phone out of a kid's hand and going back to the dressing room before the game's finished, and like it screams spoilt brat. Even though you don't know anything about it, even though you know nothing about the circumstances, you don't know what words were exchanged between him and Ten Hag. But it just screams from the outside person looking in. You are a entitled. Your self-importance has got to a level now where you're literally behaving like a petulant child, and you're just nothing more than a toxic blight within the club. Whereas I'm pretty damn sure that that's only the tip of the iceberg, and there's a lot more going on behind the scenes that we don't know, or had been going on behind the scenes, and of course we're not privy to that. We can only go on what we see. So yeah, I think if I could have any impact on the decision of him coming back, I would have suggested that maybe he didn't, because I didn't think it was a good play in the end for him. But as from a professional point of view in his career, he's been one of the most committed athletes that you'll ever see grace the football pitch, if not the most disciplined athlete that we've witnessed. Like, he literally is a role model to kids right now that are looking to become top level. His physique for a man of his age is just ridiculous. His athleticism is still very, very good. Yes, he hasn't got the pace, but he's still got the ability to jump. He's still got the ability to turn a defender. He's still got the ability to read a game. I just don't think he fitted well in that dynamic at United, and it'll be interesting to see what happens next for him. But obviously, Messi winning the World Cup, I think it's underlined the question, hasn't it? Now, who's the better out of the two? I think that win for the World Cup, I think, is pretty much kind of cemented Messi as being the better of the two. But anyway, I don't know why we're just, fixating on Ronaldo. I think.
Well, it's kind of the context of what kind of atmosphere will there be at Man United moving forward without him.
A better one.
Yeah, and with the likes of Martial and Rashford.
I don't know about you, but Martial, obviously I'm biased, but every time I see Martial on the field, and it's the touch that he does, his finesse, his ability to read and to understand and link up with other players. I'm a massive fan of Martial. I really am. I think he's a beautiful player to watch. Reminds me of Berbatov a lot. Just his mannerisms, the way he carries himself. Big admirer of Martial, and I think yes, he could definitely come on well the second half of the season, and obviously Rashford as well. I mean, when he's on top of his game, Marcus Rashford, he is one hell of a powerhouse. Once he gets moving and he gets in flight, and he's running with the ball at his feet. Yeah, he can be pretty hard, and certainly for England, demonstrated that, as well as Saka as well, another one similar. He's very driven, very well. The level of the center of gravity is there where they can do things with the ball at their feet that others can't, and have the technique to take on players. And if it all comes down to the attitude, for me, it always has come down to the attitude. How many times have I said to you about United, Steve-o, about player for player that they should be beating these teams, but they're just not playing together, that they've got chip on the shoulder, they've got that, this ego problem. We've seen it lately though with the Man United defenders. I think they've brushed up their game quite well. I think Maguire being at England was really good for him. Getting him out of that Man United atmosphere and into the England camp, and I think the England demonstrating their trust in him. And he played bloody good, Steve-o, for England. He's a different player for England than he is for United.
Well, this is when the question comes in: do these players need to leave the club and go to somewhere else where they can perform at the level they do for England, as an example?
Yeah, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and for me, United, I'm not at the point where I can say about United, I can't say hand on heart that I trust Man United enough to hold 2 or 3 assets from them. Obviously hypocritically saying I might be getting Rashford back in, and obviously I own Dalot, but I don't trust Man United right now. I've got this I've got an insecurity with them. Every time I feel like we're turning, in the past we've been turning a corner and we've started to play well, they'll just have a shite performance, and I'm like, oh no. It's like reality's coming back, but it could be different this time, right? It could be different, Steve-o. It could
You've lost one game in the past 12 here. So since October the 6th.
Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm going back now.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily talking about the last 2 months, 2 or 3 months. I'm on about since before the beginning of the season. Certainly last year, it was a roller coaster of emotions. We put in a good performance, and then all of a sudden it was like back to being wank again. And then this season we've had some real shockers as well. Obviously, the performance against City was absolutely dire. Didn't even want to play football in that game. But I mean, in all honesty, I guess I'm erring on the side of caution. I'm not going to be like, yes, we're gonna get Champions League this year, guaranteed. I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to be like, I'm just going to enjoy the football for what it is. Hopefully, we can start being consistent with our performances. Our defense can start keeping, regular clean sheets, and and our attackers can, really go on and kind of score and keep
in the last 13
I know
games.
Our clean sheets have got better. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Our defense, they're high-fiving each other. They're hugging each other when someone makes a block. High five.
We haven't even spoke about it, but did you watch last night? I mean, I didn't, but did you watch the game?
No, I didn't in the end, because the reason I didn't, because I completely forgot that at the moment, over the last few days, every evening is now a Christmas movie evening, and we had Alf.
Okay.
With Will Ferrell, and you know, I said I was going to go into the shed to my little one, not realizing, and it's like, oh, we got a movie. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah. So I watched the highlights in the end, and judging from the highlights, I think, I mean, you can't really judge much from the highlights because there's only like 3 or 4 minutes worth. But from what I saw in the highlights, Rashford looked on fire. Martial looked like he was enjoying himself. Burnley had a few chances from the right hand side. What's his name?
Are you talking about Manson?
Yes, yeah. He's looked lively. Dubravka was a bit dodgy.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah.
But all in all, clean sheet and a win. Good result.
I was shocked this morning when I saw that you'd put out. This is a full strength team here, barring the centre back where it was Casemiro instead of Martinez. That's a full strength Man United team.
Well, Wan-Bissaka. He's not first team.
He's a top quality player.
Yeah, but he's not first team.
No, I know, but he could be easily a first teamer if he wanted to be.
I mean, is Garnacho for you first teamer now?
Who's this? Sorry,
Garnacho isn't first team, is he?
No, but the majority. The majority of them.
I mean, I wouldn't even say McTominay is a. I wouldn't even say McTominay is a first teamer.
Okay.
He's a bench player. He's a squad player. Like, I wouldn't class McTominay as a first 11.
But if this team was to play against Nottingham Forest, barring Dubravka, it'd be De Gea. You wouldn't.
I think there was probably 4 or 5 players in that squad that would arguably would be on the bench in a Premier League game.
At Nottingham Forest.
I think this day and age, man, you can't afford to disrespect any Premier League team, because they can put out performances and they raise their game against the bigger clubs, and certainly United. I mean, it's a big. Let's be honest, it's been pretty common of recent times for smaller clubs to get results against United. But no, I think that it was a strong team. Yes, it was a strong team they put up against Burnley. But
our team yesterday was.
Did you see extended highlights? Because literally all I saw from the highlights was the goals, and that was it really. A few chances, but it seemed like United were the main. Were on top for large parts of the game from what I saw.
I mean, I've read basic reports. I've read a few fan opinions, and they essentially said Burnley put up a really good fight. Man United took 2 very good chances. They put them in the back of the net, and that just says everything.
Saka's cross was ridiculous.
Even Rashford's goal.
Oh, yeah.
The audacity to shoot from there and get it in.
Yeah, but it's confidence. It's confidence, Steve-O.
He's
confident again. He's had a good experience at the World Cup. He scored a goal too, and he's like now he's confident. As soon as his confidence goes, though, Rashford turns into, he disappears. He disappears on the pitch. But if his confidence is there, he's a power. Like he's a right pain in the ass, is what Rashford is. If he's feeling up for it, he can go toe to toe with anyone in the Premier League, any defender in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about so your team then, going back to the previewing game week 17. I'm sorry, I'm losing myself.
Yeah, just call it Boxing Day.
Boxing Day. Your team then, no changes that you don't see.
Other than
if you could twist your arm, Kulusevski?
No. If you were to twist my arm, it would be Mitrovic out for the player you've just spoken about, Martial. Genuinely. The fixtures for you guys, Nottingham Forest, Wolves, Bournemouth, perfectly fine. I think going on what you're saying about the confidence and everything are fine. But to be honest with you, Fulham fixtures are very Crystal Palace, Southampton, Leicester. I would argue that Man United got the better fixtures. And the fact
better
that
team.
Yeah, Mitrovic has got a double game week in
The
game
thing
week
is with
9,
Mitrovic is he's a centre like of attention, isn't he? He's like whereas Martial, well,
he's up front. He plays through the middle.
I wouldn't argue. Mitrovic is a proper centre forward in a sense that you're picking him out in the box for a header or something, whereas you're trying to play the ball to Martial's feet, aren't you?
Yeah, and like I say, this team
and he's looking to link up with other players like like Garnacho, like Rashford, Bruno, in midfield. As the midfielders run into the box, Martial's a good hold-up player and he lays it off.
Yeah.
Whereas Mitrovic is on the last man. He's very much a kind of like
Alan Shearer-esque.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I would say he's more of a target man. Yes. In the sense of like you whip the ball in, get the head up. I think the goals at Man United are more. I would argue spread out. Yeah. Whereas Mitrovic, I think for the price point, may just edge it. And also you don't forget the injury proneness that can result. That can also be an issue with Martial. So I was realising.
Going back on the conversation we had yesterday and what we talked behind the scenes regarding people taking this game too seriously and like actually coming out of this World Cup have fun. My attitude really is like, I'll just go into this, forget this unlimited transfers, just go into game week 17 with this team, see how they perform, and then go into game week 18 going, all right, this player's rubbish. Let's just bring in this player. Or this team isn't performing as well as I thought they would do. Let's go into the next game week with these players and just keep going like that. That's what I was doing.
Yeah. I do think these unlimited transfers may end up ruining a few teams.
Wait, didn't you say, was it you? I'm sure it was. No, it was Dan that said it on the podcast that people may just end up sabotaging their teams.
Well, when you give someone unlimited transfers, even if their team is brilliant, they feel like they need to use them.
Yeah.
It's like, you got, say if you've got the best team on paper, but you've suddenly got unlimited transfers, the temptation of using those transfers, for some people, I'm not going to lie, it's got me thinking of different combinations and I'm happy with my team.
But you've got money in the bank. I don't.
Well, yeah. Yes, but I've also got value in some of the players. I can't just take them all out. Start doing different combinations and saving the team down. But no, I think your team's looking very sharp.
The question really is more not about FPL, but more from a Premier League point of view. Which teams do you think are going to continue their fantastic runs into this second half of the season, and who are going to falter?
Which teams? I think Spurs are going to drop off.
Okay.
I do think Spurs are going to drop off even
Based
more.
on what?
Oh well, they've not been on. I wouldn't say they've been on a fantastic run anyway. We just bring up this. I mean, I could literally eat my own words.
No. They've lost 3 and won 3.
Yeah, so they're not exactly on a great form. So history. So they beat Leeds 4-3 right near the end, wasn't it? Wasn't that really like end-to-end game? That was, wasn't it?
It was an end-to-end game.
Obviously 4-3
could have got a double-digit scoreline.
They lost to Liverpool, which you can forgive them for. They lost. Sorry, they won against Bournemouth. They lost to Newcastle. They lost to United. They lost to Everton. I think that when no, they didn't. They won. They beat Everton. I do apologise. When I look at when I've seen Spurs this year, I've not been impressed by them.
Well, I think Spurs.
And I think the biggest thing with Spurs is Son, isn't it?
Well, can he get back his form? But I don't think Spurs were ever really a team that we, the football community, were really talking about in those Champions League spaces. We were all talking about the likes of Newcastle, Arsenal, Liverpool,
yes,
Chelsea.
Okay, yeah.
Are they the teams that are going to
100%
continue?
Yeah. I mean, I think now looking, if we go through this now, so Spurs. I think you started off this. The question you asked was the teams that have been performing really well. do you see them continuing the form? Long story short, yes. And I shouldn't have brought up Spurs because I don't think Spurs have been playing very well. So it's probably a misjudgment bringing them up. But the likes of Newcastle, they're doing wonderful things. Liverpool,
you still see the likes of Almiron, Guimaraes, Wilson to just continue. Trippier,
yeah, I do. I really do. A lot of players have had a bit of a nice break as well, rested in the World Cup. But the likes, Newcastle, Arsenal are just, that it hurts me inside to see how well they're doing under Arteta now, and they just seem to be finding the gears at the moment. I do expect them to continue well if they've got good fixtures, going forward. Liverpool, I see them coming. I mean, I wouldn't say they've had a great season from their standards, but I do see them improving as the season goes on. Man City are Man City. Strength and depth across the board, and De Bruyne obviously having a bad time at the World Cup. He'd want to come back and just forget about that and just get back to his normal football with his mate Erling. Man United, I think I said earlier on that I'm erring on the side of caution. Man United, I think Man United could really come strong with the second half of the season because of the fact that Ronaldo's gone and that cloud of Ronaldo's gone. But teams that we've not mentioned, Chelsea are a bit of a joke, aren't they?
But they've got the amount of players that they've got of high quality.
But they've got high quality players, but they're just not gelling at all, are they, at the moment? I don't know.
Not Brentford, Leicester, another team that started performing really, really well. Won 4 of the last.
I've not been keeping up with transfer news or anything like that. But is there a chance that Maddison could go in January?
No.
There's no chance. Okay, I was going to say.
Let's get real here. Any high-profile player being transferred from one club to another
in January,
is very, very rare.
Yeah.
In January.
Yeah. I like I said, I've not been keeping up with rumours or anything like that, so I'm not sure. So, anyone that stands out particularly, I would say, Brighton.
Well, they were, from what I vaguely remember, were dropping off a cliff.
I think Brighton. Yeah, they're a weird one. They're a weird one, Brighton. I think Brighton still are a good. I think they're a good team. I think they're gonna.
There's no question, but they've only won. Since
Potter left,
the postponement against Crystal Palace in September. I mean, I'm going back all the way to September, but since the 1st of October. They have only won 3 games, which were 3 in a row. And one of them was in the League Cup, and they've lost 5, drawn 2. In horrific form. They even, I don't know if you're aware or not, they drew last night 0-0, but they lost on penalties to Charlton.
Once the Liverpool games got, they got Newcastle and Liverpool, which are tough games coming up. And then switching out, they got Fulham, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, Sorry, what am I talking about? I'm looking at the wrong player here. Looking at the wrong bloody player. There we go. Sorry, do apologise.
Edit that out.
They've got, edit that bit out. Yeah, edit that bit out. So Southampton away. Brighton are the new Leicester. So we've got Brighton have got Southampton away, Arsenal at home, Everton away, Liverpool. They're a mixed bag, aren't they? These fixtures really for them. Tough fixtures, really tough.
We've got to look
Gameweek
at the
22 onwards is really when it starts to open up for them.
Yeah, and there's such a cluster of games. You're talking just a few days in between. You forgot. I mean, it's not your fault.
Yeah, I'm going to edit that out.
We got the FA Cup as well.
I never said Brighton. What I meant to say was Leicester. Yeah, Leicester. That's why I brought up the Leicester player. That's why. Yeah, Leicester. Yeah.
But. Will Danny Ward continue keeping clean sheet after clean sheet after clean sheet?
Yeah. I'll turn the question back on you. Will the teams that have been performing well, the players that have been performing well, continue their form?
I can't see why they can't continue. I think the two teams which I'm most excited for are Man United and Liverpool. I think they're the two. I think exactly what you just said about Cristiano Ronaldo. He's gone. Let's see how Man United now perform. Liverpool, they have now turned their form around. A lot of their players, either went out of the World Cup early or didn't even feature in the World Cup. So
yeah.
I think Liverpool and Man United are the two to keep your eye on. Tottenham, I couldn't give a stuff about. They're literally just hit or miss. But I think, again, they're another team with quite a lot of players. Didn't go that far in the World Cup or were eliminated because most of them are in the England team. So they came back home early. And then Newcastle are the interesting one, aren't they, Jace? They fascinate me. Do they continue their unbeaten streak? They've lost one game all season. And then, of course, Arsenal. Man City are Man City, but Arsenal, do they continue this ridiculous hot form? I mean, they because they got no Europe or anything like that. Or they've got Europe, but they can play a second string team and that and everything. I think that so long as Arteta can manage his squad and fixtures, I think that they should be okay. But Jesus, of course, injured. Jace, do you think that's going to impact them a lot? Do you think Nketiah can do a role?
I think it will impact them. But Arsenal have been finding goals outside of Jesus recently.
Well, it's more his hard work that he puts in.
It's a shift. He pulls defenders out the way for midfielders to get in the spaces. And how long is he out for?
2-3 months.
Oh God, yeah. And Nketiah's going to have a big job on his hands, filling those shoes. But yeah, I think Arteta will certainly give clear directions on what he needs to do, and I think that as long as those spaces and start opening up for the likes of Martinelli and Saka to get into, and his name escapes me now.
Odegaard.
Yeah, Odegaard. Yeah, I think Arsenal have got every reason to continue their form.
You're the only team, Man United, that have beaten them this season in the Premier League. The only other two losses came in the Europa League against PSV Eindhoven and against Brighton in the Carabao Cup. It's just it's crazy.
They've got great form. Arsenal, they really have. Of course, top of the league as well. I keep forgetting that how well they've been doing. Yeah,
they've won every single match since.
They've lost only against Arsenal. They've only lost against us.
Yes,
that's it.
And they've won every game and drawn one since that loss.
It's ridiculous.
Barring those two losses against in cup competitions.
Obviously, the last 5 games, Newcastle United, unbeaten. I'm just looking at this now, and what I see the table. Tottenham in 4th. I don't see them staying 4th. But they have got a game in hand. Ironically, they have got a game in hand. Oh no, sorry. What am I talking about? Man United and Liverpool, and Chelsea and Brighton have all got a game in hand over Tottenham. Only the real one that obviously will impact them is Man United. But they've still got better goal. They got better goal difference. So if United win their game in hand, they go level with Tottenham at 4th. But Tottenham will be above on goal difference as it stands right now. But do I see Tottenham falling out of top 4, 100% falling out of top 4.
Yeah.
I think United have got a chance of taking that 4th place. Liverpool also got a chance of taking that 4th place. It's going to be a fight between Man United and Liverpool.
So essentially, what you're saying is it's down to Newcastle and Tottenham cocking up.
I think it's Newcastle's place to lose that 3rd spot. I think if a scenario, I think they could drop into 4th and they could keep 4th place, and I think Newcastle fans would take that. I think that would be an incredible achievement for Newcastle. However, if I was going to say now, how do I see the season finishing? I would see Man City winning the league, Arsenal in 2nd place. Man United and Liverpool Oh my God, do I see Newcastle sticking it out? This is tough, man. I'm gonna go Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool in third place, Newcastle in fourth, Man United in fifth.
It really comes down.
But it could be anything. Like you toss a coin. Like it's so close.
Well, Newcastle, like Arsenal, is about how Eddie Howe manages the squad, injuries, not coming into play, and everything, and how they cope with injuries.
Yeah, they haven't got the depth. They haven't got the depth, have they?
No, Chris Wood isn't good enough to be up top of Newcastle.
No, but do you know when I see this? Do you know what it screams out to me? I think that this table, top six places, could come down to the final game week.
Yeah.
Like it's so it's screaming out to me that this is going to be super close. All these teams are going to be constantly getting the points on each other. It could be a massive game week 38 where a fifth place team could finish second or third. Like I mean, okay, maybe not second, but a fifth place team could suddenly finish third. You know.
But as it stands right now,
but position three to position 6, I think is open. Is open for anyone.
Yeah, it's 8 points right now.
Yeah,
and we believe that Brighton are going to fall off. Chelsea, has Graham Potter done anything in training this week to maybe up their game over the next few weeks or so? We don't know. But certainly, I agree with you. The 8 points, can it be made up over the next
100%,
several game weeks? You think it will be?
Yeah, I think you asked the question, can it be made up? Well, yeah, obviously you've got Man United, Liverpool, who have got a game in hand over Newcastle and Tottenham for a start. Don't forget if Liverpool win their game and Newcastle drop points, then that 8 points gets shaved down to 5. So all of a sudden you're starting to see that gap closing and closing. Yeah, definitely.
So then,
well, they don't even have to. What am I on about? They don't even have to lose. If they win that game, they get down to 5 points gap. So
then it comes back to my fantasy team. Well, all the teams that you're talking about that are going to do well, I've got in my team.
Yeah,
and they're all pivotal, whatever that word means. Pivotal.
If you're a fantasy manager, you want to have Liverpool coverage, you want to have Man United coverage, you want Tottenham. Well, say Tottenham. I wouldn't necessarily say Tottenham is a necessity.
No, it's.
I would say Newcastle, Man City, Arsenal, Man United, 1 or 2 players because they're cheap as chips. And they've got no Ronaldo. There's an argument that you can just go gamble with a few of them. Liverpool, of course. I guess from Tottenham, Harry Kane's too much, and so Son. I think you're looking at someone like you've done with Kulusevski, or what's your thoughts on the nodding guy, the guy that does the duck thing? What's his name again?
The duck thing.
The dodo celebration. Richarlison. There we go. What's your thoughts on Richarlison?
Isn't he injured?
Is he?
Did he get
injured
played for Brazil? With Brazil?
No, that I know of.
I'm not interested. He's not a first teamer for. It doesn't matter how well he played for Brazil. He's not a first teamer for. Do
you not think he should be a first teamer for Tottenham?
I think the work that he puts in, and the quality of striker he is. But who's he going to replace? Out of the front three of Kulusevski, Son, and Kane.
Kulusevski? No. Okay, never mind. I don't see him injured. Oh, hang on. No, Tottenham told that Richarlison's injury may be worse than first feared. Okay, Football Insider 24/7.
We'll edit that out.
MRI scan on hamstring injury. Whatever. Just there we go. That answers that question. Anyway, so I'm mindful of the time. Let's get the predictions going, shall we?
Yeah. I've really enjoyed that conversation so far. Yeah, let's just
Brentford Spurs.
Crying out loud. Horrific. Do you want me to go through the last few games for each team? Just to refresh our memories?
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
Okay, well, Brentford at home. They are, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
So Brentford sit very well in the table for home form. They're 9th. They've only lost once, which was quite recent, ironically, against Arsenal. Who else doesn't lose against Arsenal? They lost 3-0. The last 2 fixtures ended in a draw, 1-1, 0-0, and they beat Brighton 2-0, whereas Tottenham, on the other hand, away from home, they are sitting 5th. They don't particularly enjoy playing away from home. It seems to me that every time they have a positive result, it followed up by a loss. They beat Bournemouth 3-2, if you remember that very, very tight game where I think Conte rested a few players in that. They lost to you lot 2-0, and they beat Brighton 1-0. I think just because it's Tottenham, and I think that Conte is going to want to start with a winning way, I'm going to say Spurs are going to nick this.
Right, you're saying Spurs are going to nick it. Let me just changing this.
Get the old pen on me.
Yeah. Get the pen
out. The old pen out. Yeah, I'm expecting.
So hang on, I need to change it. So you're.
I'll go with a lino.
Okay, so. I can't believe I've been offered to do some rehearsals. Right. Right. I'll go. What colour do you want? Blue or
Is there claret and blue? Let's go blue. Yeah, let's go blue.
You're gonna go blue. I'll go red then. So what are you saying?
I'm gonna go just 2-1 to Spurs.
I'm gonna go. This is tough. 3-2 Spurs.
High scoring game.
Yeah. Crystal Palace versus Fulham.
Local derby. Crystal Palace, we all know, do very, very well at home, which is proof in the pudding. They've only lost 2 games. The last 3, they've won all 3. 1-0 against Southampton. They beat Wolves 2-1. They beat Leeds 2-1. Whereas Fulham, on the other hand, away from home, they've lost quite a lot, Jace. They've lost 4 out of the last 7. In fact, again, a bit like with Tottenham, it seems to be a win followed up by a loss. The last 3 fixtures away from home, they lost 2-1 to Man City, they lost 3-2 to Leeds, and they lost 3-1 to Fulham, to West Ham. I immediately saw that fixture and thought, Crystal Palace, Fulham, I'm going to go 2-2, and I'm going to stick with that, Jace. I'm going to go 2-2.
I'm going to go 1 less for Palace. I'm going to go 2-1 to Fulham.
So despite what I've just said about Crystal Palace's good home form and Fulham's poor away form, you think that Fulham are going to turn it around?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everton versus Wolves. those stats to be there to be broken, mate.
God almighty, dire game. I think Everton are one of the worst.
I'm going 0-0, by the way.
I was about to say the same thing, 0-0, but I'm going to go instead because Pickford will be back and everything. Last 3 fixtures for Everton, they've lost 2-1-1. They lost to Leicester 2-0. They beat Crystal Palace 3-0, and they lost to Man United 2-1.
1-0 Everton.
Wolves on the other. 1-1 they drew with Brentford. They are terrible. They haven't even won a game away from home, Jace. They've only drawn 1-2.
1-0 Everton. I'm going to call it now. That's what you're going to say.
Yes, yeah. Crystal Palace 2-1 to Wolves. To Crystal Palace, and Chelsea beat them 3-0. Yeah.
Right, stop talking about bloody Everton Wolves. I couldn't give a crap about them. Leicester versus Newcastle. Sorry if there's any fans in the audience.
Leicester Newcastle, is it?
Yeah, brilliant game. What a game it's going to be. I'm going to go 2-1 to Newcastle.
Well, like we said, Leicester have turned it round. They lost 1-0 to Man City in that Kevin De Bruyne free kick that you captained. Was it you that captained him? Was that the game you captained him?
Yeah, I did, yeah. But didn't I get jammy, though? Because Haaland was my captain. He didn't play in that game, did he? and it was my vice captain was KDB.
Yes, I think you're right.
But yeah, it wasn't jammy though, because I think it was one of those where Haaland was ruled out anyway. So it's just.
Oh yeah, Haaland didn't play.
Anyway.
Alvarez played.
Yes, he did.
Leicester.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Leicester at home. They've actually picked up a bit. So they lost that 1-0 to Man City, but prior to that, they'd actually won 2 and drawn 1. They beat Leeds 2-0. They drew here 0-0 with Crystal Palace, and they beat Nottingham Forest 4-0. Whereas Newcastle, we've just said, unbeaten. They are ridiculous. I mean, away from home though, they are sitting third in the table. Only lost once, and this is horrible, Jace. What do I always say? Bilal will know this. Leicester always seem to be in a 2-1 fixture. I'm going to say Leicester are going to nick. No, I'm not. Let's go with a draw. 1-1. 1-1, Jace.
Okay, Southampton versus Brighton. I'm going to go Brighton to win this one. I'm going to go with a. Is it going to be a 1-0 to Brighton? Yeah, I'm going to be 1-0 to Brighton.
Brighton are at home,
yeah. You know what? No, they're not. You know, the more I say it with Potter not being there, and the form that Brighton are on, and like me getting literally schooled on history with Brighton, I think I'm being stupid there.
Southampton at home to Brighton.
I will say 0-0 or 1-0 either way. But give it the home team 1-0 to Southampton.
Well, the history's not on your side.
I'd be surprised to hear that, Steve.
They've won 1 game all season.
Anti-history.
They beat Chelsea, ironically, 2-1. Prior to that, the last 3 fixtures, drawn 2, lost 1. They lost to Newcastle 4-1. They drew with Arsenal 1-1. They drew with West Ham 1-1. Brighton, on the other hand, away from home. They're not too bad away from home. They're 6th in the table. However, the last 4 fixtures, 2 losses, a draw and a win. They beat Wolverhampton Wanderers 3-2 when everybody thought they were going to keep a clean sheet, and then lost to Man City 3-1, and they lost to Brentford 2-0. Southampton underneath a new manager at the moment here, but I think they're just going to cancel each other out, Chase, and I'm going to go with a 1-1.
1-1, okay. Aston Villa versus Liverpool.
God, this is... Well, I always remember telling Dan that their coach, what's his name, the former Arsenal manager, Jace, that's now taken over at Aston Villa, Unai Emery. He doesn't change his tactics. He's just gun-ho, gun-ho, gun-ho. I think Liverpool could have some fun here, Jace.
What was he known for? Unai Emery. What was his phrase? Catchphrase? Good evening. Good evening.
Oh, that's it. Yes.
Yeah.
I think, despite what the history's saying, where Aston Villa are very good at home, I think Liverpool are going to have some fun here.
Disagreeing with the history, are you, Steve?
I am going to disagree with the history, despite Liverpool.
3-0 Liverpool.
3-1.
Oh,
I'm going to go 3-1.
Okay. I'm going to go 3-0. And you're going to go 3-1. Okay. A lot of ones in your predictions.
Yes.
Lots of ones. In fact, very quickly before we continue this, let me just see if I can just do this and share window. Can you see that?
Oh yes, I can.
There we go. Is that better for you now?
Well, it doesn't bother me, but
well, no, but you can see. But at least you can see what's going on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So Arsenal versus West Ham.
The fact it's at the Emirates, I'm going to make this a simple prediction here. I'm going to go with a very, very tough 2-0 to Arsenal.
I'm gonna go one less. I'm gonna go 1-0. Just a straightforward win for Arsenal, not a high scoring game. It's a 1-0 win. Then we move on
you
to
say
Tuesday.
that. Just a quick one. Their home form of the last 3, they've scored 3 against Tottenham, 3 against Liverpool, and 5 against Nottingham Forest. West Ham, on the other hand, away from home, are absolutely pants. They've won 1, drawn 1, lost 5. And it's not good reading.
So you're going to go...
fans. I've gone 2-0.
Okay.
2-0.
I just realised something. Okay, cool. Chelsea versus Bournemouth.
Yeah,
on the Tuesday game.
I actually think this could be a lot tighter than what people think. However, I do think Chelsea nick this, and I'm just going to go with a simple 1-0, Jace. Bournemouth are keeping it tight.
Going to write my prediction here.
Okay, here we go. I can now see this. 2-1. Expect Bournemouth to score against Chelsea, eh?
Man United versus Nottingham Forest. I'm going to go quickly first and say I think this game is going to be 2-0 to Man United.
I think very similar to Chelsea versus Bournemouth. I think it's going to be very, very tight. But the fact that it's at Old Trafford, I agree with you. I'm going to go with a 2-0. Yeah.
Very rarely do we agree with each other. And then Wednesday, is this the final game?
It is, yeah.
Wednesday, Leeds versus Manchester City. This is how many goals do you want Haaland to score is the question. I'm gonna go 4. There's gonna be 4 goals to City in my prediction. What's yours?
Well, Man City's away form is, it's not particularly great. 3 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss. I think I'll go with a...
You see what I put in?
Let's have a look here. You're going with 4 goals, are you? You're going with 4-2.
Yes.
I think it would be a lot closer than that. Do I see Leeds scoring? So Ellen Road, yeah. But I'll go
I see Leeds getting
2-1.
I
think 2-1, Jace.
Okay. Those are predictions.
Like you say, a lot of ones from me.
A lot of ones from Steve-O. Bloody hell. Mind you, there's a fair few twos and threes from me. Mind you, I mean, our predictions are fairly... The outcomes of the games are fairly similar, like in terms of who we see winning the games. Obviously, you see Spurs. We both see Spurs winning. We both see Liverpool winning. Both see it's the top teams, isn't it? We both see Arsenal winning. We both see Chelsea winning. We both see Man United winning. We both see Man City winning. So, but yeah, consensus-wise, we do differ quite a bit when it comes to...
It's just going to be fascinating to see how this team's set up since the World Cup's happened. I think most teams will be full strength.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
I think. But it's down to, like you say, it's down to the FPL stuff. And Jace, do you want to tell the audience again what you'll be doing on Boxing Day?
I'm going to be doing a deadline stream on the... Hang on, what time is deadline? I need to be careful what I say.
That would be 11 o'clock deadline.
Yeah, so we'll be doing a deadline stream on the Boxing Day. There are plans, obviously, Boxing Day. So I'll let you know exactly when I will start that stream. Probably be I'll let everyone know in the Discord and tweet it out exactly what time I'll start. It'll be probably an hour and a half before the deadline.
Wow.
Well, maybe an hour before. I don't know. See what happens. And yeah, get reaction to people's teams and stuff in the live chat.
Yeah, definitely want. Yeah, and people coming live on air and everything.
Well, if this is your chance to come on air. People say, why are we not doing more call-ins? Well, we do them, but we need you guys to actually come on to make them worthwhile. But yeah. That said,
let's get real here. The best stream that I heard was that Alvarez stream when I was in Torbay, and you didn't have a clue what I'd been doing. Didn't know whether I had the news about Haaland or not, and the game crashed and everything, if you remember that. And you captain Alvarez, and Max captain Alvarez, and that was possibly one of the highlights of Elite FPL for me in its history. I think it was just magnificent. You had so many callers on at one time. You were having a lot of fun and everything, and I think hopefully on Boxing Day we'll have the same response.
Hopefully it'll be good. Well, we're coming up for the hour mark now. We'll quickly just shout out some teams in the leagues before I forget. Obviously remind everybody how the leagues are actually looking. If I can just get the field that I need to look at. Yeah, here we go. So leagues. Just a reminder, Members League. We've got Harry top of the Members League with 969 points. Madeline Tudor in second place at 948. MT, who's up now to third place, going above going above No Weak Foot, and obviously Vigard as well, falling down to sixth place. Matthew Ezeashi now in fourth place, also on 935. Still quite tight there in the top 10. Then we go to the YouTube chat league. Again, some familiar names here. We've got Uncle Juicy TV, top of the YouTube chat league, 961 points. Madeline Tutor on second and 948, as I said previously. Jordan W, 946 points. Very, very close here in the top 4. David Foster dropping down of recent weeks, but obviously we've still got the second half of the season all to play for. In the mod league, we've got Aman Dillon smashing it on 943 points. Paulie in second place with 902, and then we've got Dan Bull, who's been the superstar on 900 points. Blonde is above me on 896, and it's me and then you. So I need to get a finish above Dan. I can't finish. I'm sorry. The shout out to Community League got Obi Wan-Bissaka, Sebastian. I don't know any of these people really. Yeah, Sebastian Turner, 1,016 points. Damien Duffy on 1,014. Very, very close. Very, very close. Top of the Community League. That's going to move around quite a bit before the end of the season, I'm sure. And to Tolu Laz Adams, Chandler FC, and Isra Ahmed, Kibzai. I don't know any of these people. They just get league codes and join them, it seems. That's the Community League. It's open to everyone, of course. Then we've got the Rivals League. Peter S is top of that, 956 points, and Vince Chapman doing well, 954 points. Yeah. Third place we've got Matthias on 951 points in FC Sklift, and then we've got Jordan fourth place at 946 points. The Rumble League, wish I was doing better in that. We've got Kevin Maher at the top with 363 points, with Warfare in second place with 355 points. David Long in third, and Matthew Ezeashi in fourth. Of course, that started in Gameweek 11. That's why the points are lower. Still very, very, very tight there. Going from second place down to sixth, seventh place, it's still very, very tight. But there was a bit of a lead being formed by Kevin at the top there. So keep it up, Kevin. Good shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for being actively participating in those leagues. I'm sure you guys are all looking forward to being back at full speed again as we go past this Christmas into the new year. But on that note, I think it's a good time to end it now, Steve-O, on the 59-minute mark. Any final passing thoughts?
Yeah, just happy Christmas. Even though I'm a bit of a Scrooge.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. And yeah, just enjoy the next few days before the absolute chaos when it comes to the world of fantasy football, I guess, Jace.
Absolutely. Take it easy, guys. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you on Boxing Day. Take care.
Goodbye, all.